They sent us a clip today of Nurk off a pick and roll throwing a lob to Whiteside. Question would be, how is that working? Will we see it tomorrow? Are you pleased with those two guys' ability to play with each other?
Yeah, yeah. They'll play together tomorrow, and we spent a lot of time today having those two guys play together because they haven't. So there's no question you'll see it. I think Nurk as a roll man, as a playmaker, you know he can make passes and make plays in the paint either as a scorer or a passer. So, yeah, hope we can see one of those lobs tomorrow.
All right, next question is coming from David Aldridge with The Athletic.
Hey, Terry. Noticed the shirt. And I'm wondering, as you continue to educate yourself about, the various issues that are going on out there, is there anyone that you're reading regularly or listening to regularly, maybe outside of the NBA sphere that you find is helping you? And what do you hope the Coaches Association's emphasis and programs will be able to do to help out in this regard?
Good questions. First, since George Floyd's death, obviously this has been important in our country. So I tell you, watching the 13th Amendment, the documentary 13th, if people, particularly white people, don't understand what systemic racism is, they should watch the documentary 13th. Watched True Justice. The Coaches Association is working very closely with Brian Stevenson with the Equal Justice Initiative. Their website is extremely informative. They have a calendar that says something that was in the history with regards to equal justice. That's very informative. I began reading the book White Fragility, which is a very interesting read for a white person to understand what is going on with white privilege. This has been an awakening. Hopefully it's an awakening for white America and what's at stake. Black Lives Matter is a movement that is important. Black Lives Matter, the movement exists for a reason. There are injustices in this country. There have been injustices for a long time. The Coaches Association, one of the things that we talked about is while we're in Orlando, that we have an obligation to keep the conversation going. We have a platform, not only the players, but the coaches, to continue the discussion of what is going on. Rick Carlisle, Lloyd Pierce have taken a lead in what we're doing with the Coaches Association. As I said, working with Brian Stevenson has been very enlightening. And hopefully we can have some good things come out of it.
Coach, next question is coming from Jason Quick.
Coach, you've been pretty adamant that you guys don't have a lot of time to waste and there's a sense of urgency. In that regard, will you experiment less in these scrimmages with lineups and looks?
Well, I don't know what you mean by experimenting. We're gonna, we have our top players, and I don't know that there's going to be a lot of experimenting. We've got our top players, our top 7-8 players. There will be minutes to be had here and there, but I can't say that there's a lot of experimenting going on, other than the fact that the obvious one is having Nurk and Hassan play together.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to mostly.
Well, that's not experimenting. I mean, that's a fact.
Okay. Then also, if I could follow up, most of the league is kind of evolving toward positionless or smaller lineups. You guys are obviously going to be very big. How do you view that for you guys? You view that as an advantage?
We're going to play to our strengths. Our strengths right now is we do have size. Hassan is a unique big man. Nurk is a unique big man. So is Zach. Melo at 3 is going to create problems at 3. And so we're going to play to our strengths. And, we have to guard people. We have to make accommodations for that. Hopefully we're better defensively anyway and take advantage of it at the offensive end and figure some things out there too. But, this is good for us that we can play. Look, when you add Zach and Nurk, we are going to play with those guys, and that's our strength. So that we are who we are, and we're going to do what we have to do.
Next question is coming from Aaron Ventures with the Oregonian.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Hey, so a lot of talk about obviously Zach and Dirk coming back, but they've missed that. They haven't played a combined 25 months, I think, if you add up the time they've been out. How much rust have you been able to knock off of them, and how important is it to give those guys a lot of minutes in these scrimmages to knock off even more rust before the real games begin?
Surprisingly, neither one of them look rusty. If you had seen any of our practices, you wouldn't. I don't think there was. I can't remember one thing. Well, like just saying, like, well, he hasn't played for a while. They've honestly, you can't tell that they have not been on the court or they missed that much time this season. So that's been very encouraging.
Next question is coming from Casey Holdall with Trailblazers.com.
Hi, Terry.
Hello, Case.
Kind of going off, you're talking about Black Lives Matter and kind of the paying attention to those issues. Obviously, Portland has been in the national news lately, something that we're not really used to. So I'm wondering if from Orlando, if you've been watching kind of what's been happening here in Portland between the feds and some of the local protests.
Yeah, I watch a lot of CNN while I'm in my room. So yeah, we've been keeping track of what's going on. At least I have. Sounds like nobody wants the federal troops there. So with Governor Brown and the mayor requesting that they leave, I hope that leads to some calming of the situation. I think it's great that we have peaceful protests. The moms and the Black Lives Matter. I think that's really important for our country. It's important for our city. I don't have an answer for the violence. It seems that happens at night, but I would like for our local authorities to be able to handle it.
Thanks, Terry.
Yep.
Next question is coming from Brooke Olzendam with Trailblazers Broadcasting.
Hey, Coach, I just wanted to check in on Nasir Little, see how he's feeling today.
He's feeling better. He was at practice today. He didn't do anything. He did some movement on the bike. He's doing well, but he's not participating in practice yet.
Will he play tomorrow?
I would say unlikely, but I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Next question is coming from Jamie Hudson with NBC Sports Northwest.
Hey, Coach.
Hello.
Hey, about the time that you think about, you've been there now a week and a half, and then thinking about this month of July and going from individual workouts now to team workouts. How do you feel like, does it feel like the time has gone fast? And how do you feel like you guys are at this point with heading into a scrimmage game? Do you like where you're at?
The time, amazingly, when you said we got here on the 9th, so it's almost been 2 weeks, and it's amazing that it's been that long already, and I think it's going to go pretty quickly once we get in the routine of scrimmages and then games. I think time's going to go pretty quickly. As far as where we are right now, we haven't had a bad practice. I've been very pleased with what we've been able to accomplish in practice. The focus has been really good. The players' energy has been good. It's been very encouraging.
All right, last question is coming from Jason Quick with The Athletic.
Coach, I'm doing something on Dame's leadership. And obviously, I think there are different layers to leadership. And one of them that his teammates have often brought up is him as an inspiration and inspiring them. And I'm just wondering, do you see that? Do you see him inspiring his teammates? And then also, has he ever inspire, motivated, or moved you?
I think Dame probably inspires his teammates just by who he is. I don't know if there's specific examples that I have. Obviously his game speaks for itself, but I think he inspires people by the way he handles himself. Same way as Melo. When you reach a certain level, you inspire people by the way you carry yourself. I do think, and I've read stories where Dame's input, or he had a conversation with Nasir. I believe that was your article. That he is able. The players listen to what he has to say, and you've been covering Dame his entire career, obviously, and he speaks from the heart. He speaks the truth. He doesn't sugarcoat things, and I think for young players, that's good for them to hear. As far as inspiring me personally, again, I think I'm inspired by, again, not specific examples, but the way he conducts himself with his family, with his music career, with his basketball, with his interaction with his teammates, with his interaction with the coaches. I think great leaders. Well, first of all, I think most coaches are grateful to have great leaders and have their best player be their best leader. And I've always said, when you looked at Magic Johnson and Pat Riley and Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan and Phil, I think it makes the coach's job a lot easier to be a leader. And that inspires me as well.
Right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach.